Okay, this is page 3 of the review. We've done number 21. Let's go to number 22. Again, we need to work this half separately from this half, and then we'll combine our like terms. So 3 times 4x will be 12x. 3 times negative 3 will be negative 9. Over on this half, we have negative, and we've got an implied 1 here. So negative times x is just minus x, and a negative multiplied, negative 1 times a negative 7 would be a positive 7, so we'll have plus 7. So now the ones that are alike are x's. We have a 12x minus x, be 11x. And we have a negative 9 and a positive 7 that we're combining together, and it'll give us negative 2. And those are not alike, they're unlike, so we can't put them together. 23, a little more complicated because of the fractions. You can use your calculator. 2/3 of 3 is 2. So we have 2x. 2/3 of negative 6 is negative 4. So negative 4 or minus 4y. Then down here we have 3/2 of 4. 3 over 2 times 4 should be 6. So positive or plus 6x. 3 over 2 times 2 should just be 3. So we have a plus 3y. Now I combine my terms that are alike. I have a positive 2x and a positive 6x. It gives me 8x. Then I have a negative 4y and a positive 3y. It's just a negative 1y. So just put minus y. We're putting these in order from least to greatest. Probably be easier to change them all into a decimal form first. So this one and this one are already in non-fraction form. So negative 2/9. What is the decimal equivalent of negative 2/9? So here they are in their decimal form. So we need to find the lowest negative, and that would be negative 0.3 repeating. So that's negative square root of 1/9. So that's going to be our smallest number, followed by negative 0.2 repeating, which is negative 2/9. Followed by no more negatives, so followed by 0. And then the smallest between 0.25 and 0.18 repeating, we'd have 0.18 repeating, which is 2/11. And then the last one is the 0.25 is the largest. Okay, 25, for many items, as the number of items sold increases, the price per item decreases. Okay, so the independent variable is the number of items sold, because it determines the price per item. The price per item is dependent upon the number of items sold. So independent is always going to be your x value. Dependent should always be on your y-axis. So you've got number of items sold down here on your x-axis. And then you have price per item on your y-axis. So as the number of items sold increases, the price per item decreases. As this one goes higher, as we go farther along the x-axis, we should be going down along the y-axis. So if 0 items are sold, we would have a kind of a higher price. But if we have like 500 or so items sold, the price would end up being lower. So your graph would look something like that. It'd be a decreasing graph because there's one item goes up, the other goes down. That's going to be a decreasing graph. The length of a girl's hair grows at a constant rate until one day she cuts it very short. Okay, so we need to try to draw a graph of that. Okay, so our independent variable is going to be time. So as time goes by, because that's going to be down here, time. Okay, hours, days, whatever. The dependent variable is going to be the length of her hair. And dependent will go on your y-axis and independent will go on your x-axis. So over time, you know, her hair might start out at a certain length, and over time it's growing, her hair is getting longer until one day she gets it cut very short, and all of a sudden it's down here the next day, and now it starts growing again. Okay, but at that certain day it was growing, and then maybe you have an open circle there and a closed circle there, and then it starts going up again. It's going to be continuous, it's not going to be discrete. But that's kind of what the graph might end up looking like as far as the length of her hair. It might have started out at 4 inches, and then over time it got to a length of 8 inches, and then she decided to cut it down to 2 inches. That may have been over a 6-month period of time. Just an idea. Okay, on number 27, we have to kind of translate this into an equation and then solve that equation. So we want the product of a number and 10. So product is multiplication. The number will be, we'll call it n for number. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll call it x. Keep it standard. X times, so this is the product of a number and 10, is 38 more than, so 38 plus 8 times the number. Well, we can 10, x times 10, we'll just write as 10x. So that's the product of a number and 10 is 38 more than 8 times that same number. So then we solve that. We're going to subtract 8x from both sides. We get 2x equals 38. Divide by 2 on both sides. X would be 19. The equation we would want is 10x equals 38 plus 8x. And our solution is that x would have to be 19. Number 28, 3/5 of a number equals 1. Okay, 3/5 of means multiplication. A number would be x. So this is 3/5 times a number. 3/5 times x equals 1. What is the number? What is x? Okay. So our equation would be 3/5 x equals 1. Our solution to solve this, to get x by itself, we need to multiply by the reciprocal, 5 over 3. Okay. The 5's cancel, the 3's cancel, get 1, 1, 1, 1, which is 1x. Over here we had to do the same thing, multiply by 5 over 3. So x would equal, anything times 1 is itself. So x would be 5/3. Okay, 29, solve each equation and check your solution. Okay. To solve this, we first need to distribute and get rid of these parentheses. So we'll write that as 5t minus 5 times t is 5t. 5 times -2 would be a -10 equals 10 plus 3t. Now we need to get all of the terms that have t's on them over on the left side. Okay, so we're going to subtract 3t from both sides. We'll end up with 2t. At the same time, just to keep it simpler, I'm going to add 10 to both sides also. That way I'll cancel that, and I end up with 2t equals 20. So if 2t equals 20, t must be 10. 2t must be 10. So we think it's 10. Let's check it. So we're going to check it back up here. 5 times 10 minus 2. Does that equal 10 times, or does that equal 10 plus 3 times 10? Okay. We got 20. 5 times 20 is what? Oh, that's a minus. Sorry, 8. That should be 5 times 8 is what? 40. Over on this side, we get 10 plus 3 times 10, which is 30. And 10 plus 30 is 40. So 40 equals 40. It checks out. Could have probably done my check your solution a little bit neater. Number 30. 8 plus 2/5 g equals 4. All right, the first thing we need to do is get rid of the 8. Subtract 8 from both sides. So we'll cancel. We're left with 2/5 g equals -4. 4 minus 8, -4. Then we do what we did on one of the prior problems. To get rid of the fraction, we got to multiply by its reciprocal. 4 we can write as 4 over 1 if that makes you happy, makes it easier for you to see. That becomes 1g equals, you can reduce first and then multiply, or you can just multiply and then reduce. You get -20 over 2, which equals -10. So we think the answer is -10. Let's plug it back in and see. Is 8 plus 2/5 of -10 equal to 4? Well, what's 2/5 of -10? Tap it in your calculator. You should get 8. This should equal -4. So you should get 8 minus 4. Does that equal to 4? Yeah, 4 equals 4. So it checks out. So we're sure that g equals -10. Okay, 31. Again, we need to get rid of the parentheses first, so we need to kind of distribute this negative sign to the terms inside the parentheses. We get 3x minus 7 minus x, and then a -1 times a -5 would be a +5, so plus 5 equals 0. Combine our like terms over here. The ones that are alike, I have a -x and a 3x. That leaves me with 2x. A -7 and a +5 leaves me with a -2. That's still equal to 0. Okay. Add 2. We get 2x equals 2. That means when you divide by 2 on both sides, x should be equal to 1. So let's check it. Is 3 times 1 minus 7 minus 1 minus 5, is that equal to 0? That's 3 minus 7, and that's -4 inside, so plus 4. Is that equal to 0? 3 minus 7 is -4 plus 4. Is -4 plus 4 equal to 0? 0 equals 0. It checks out. Okay, so this is my answer. 32. Again, I need to distribute this negative across the items inside. So I get 5m, and then negative times 5. -1 times 5 would be a -5, or minus 5. -1 times 3m would be a -3m, so I'll write minus 3m. Over here, there's nothing in front of the parentheses to distribute through, so I can just straight drop the parentheses. And I collect my like terms. These are alike. That gives me 2m minus 5. Over here, I can collect my 3 and my negative 12 minus 12 together, and that'll give me negative 9 plus m. Okay. Then I need to add 5 to get all my integers, all my whole numbers on the right. And then I need to subtract m to get all my m terms on the left. That'll leave me with m, negative m and 2m, just 1m. And that gives me negative 4. So I think m is equal to negative 4. I need to test it. I think m is equal to negative 4. Let me check it. 5 times negative 4 minus 5 plus 3 times negative 4. Does that equal 3 plus negative 4 minus 12? All right, that's negative 20. That is minus 5 minus 12. That's negative 1 minus 12. Okay, that gives me negative 20. And here is a negative 7. So a negative 7, with a negative outside, would be plus 7. On this side, I get a negative 13. So negative 20 plus 7 is a negative 13. Equals, way over here, negative 13. So yeah, it checks out. Negative 4 is the correct solution.